Welcome to Unhappy Teacher Podcast, a safe space for educators to vent, get it off your chest, and know that you are not alone. Here we discuss all things education, from the challenges to the triumphs, and how we can continue to grow in our personal and professional wellness. I'm your host, Courtney Sela, and today I have a special guest sitting next to me. He's a 7th grade math teacher and content creator. He combined his passion for creating content and his love for education and discovered something big, I will say. Along the way, he has created a lot of viral content and necessary conversations. It's sparking a lot of talk out there, and he's hoping to only grow bigger from here. Please help me welcome QB the Dawn, or QB as we may know, Mr. Bryant.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I thank you for being able to be here on this show.
Thank
As
you
I
for
said
having
before, I
me.
truly value your time. And I really hope today that, our viewers can get to learn more about you, where you come from, your message, and your values.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I
Yes.
really do appreciate, and I love your platform. First of all, I love the name, Unhappy Teacher. Like you did your big one with that one. So thank you for that. And I love your platform. I love your message. I love your whole I love the whole setup. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah. So, like the unhappy teacher, a lot of us are unhappy, but not speaking up or saying it. And we feel like we
Right.
may not have a platform, but you've created a platform for yourself, in your teaching experiences. So just, introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us, where you're from, how you got started, your beginning. Tell us all.
Okay, so I'm initially from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
I grew up in Jacksonville. I went to school at FAMU, for Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University. I graduated with my degree in IT, so I didn't take the traditional route of, education. I knew I always wanted to be an educator. My mom, she was an educator. My cousins are educators. My grandmother was an educator. Some of my cousins are actually principals. So I have that education background. Like me and my sister, we always had the teacher edition textbooks. So we were always, playing school and stuff like that. So I have that education background. And like I said, I always knew I wanted to be an educator. When I was in 4th grade, I knew I wanted to be a math teacher because I loved my 4th grade math teacher. Shout out to Miss Jacqueline Harris. I don't know where she is today, but I remember her to the T, so shout out to her. So I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. I just didn't know in what capacity. And then when I got older, I realized that teachers weren't paid enough. And that was initially what detoured me and made me take the IT route. So like I said, I got my bachelor's degree in IT. I graduated from FAMU. And I graduated the year of COVID, so I actually didn't get a graduation. I didn't get to walk across the stage.
Oh.
I didn't get to enjoy any of that stuff. So
Wow.
after that, I had gotten a job. I was supposed to be working with Wells Fargo. I was supposed to move to South Carolina. I had the job. I had everything. But because of COVID, they had cut everything.
Yeah.
Everything was cut down. So I think my hiring class, it was about 20 of us in that class, and they cut it in half. So they were only taking 10 people because of, budget cuts and everything. Because of COVID.
Because everything changed.
So after that, obviously I was one of the ones who got cut, unfortunately. So I didn't have a job anymore. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I had to go back home. My lease was up in college, so
It's like you got to do something now. What you going to do?
So I went back home. I went back to Jacksonville, and I started working at Bank of America. I did that for a year. I was a product support specialist. I mean, it was all right. It was, IT. It was my field. I mean, but I didn't really. I loved the tech side, but I didn't really love what I was doing in that aspect. And like I said, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. So at this point, I'm like,
let me just try it.
let me see. Let me see what I could do. So I also knew I didn't want to stay in Jacksonville. So that's where I grew up. I did not want to go back. Even when I was coming back from college, I was just that kind of put me in a rough spot, mentally, because it was I was one of those people that was I don't want to go back home. I don't want those people that go back home after they graduate and be it was just a certain stigma on those. I don't know. I just didn't want to be one of those people. So I ended up applying, went online, looking for teacher positions because I knew all you needed was a bachelor's degree. You just needed, I knew that was one of the baselines. So I started looking at schools. I found a school. I found a county first, and I really didn't know much about.
I was like, how did you just like say, what state do I want to go to?
I knew I wanted to come. I knew I wanted to move to Atlanta.
Okay.
All of my friends were up here. Everybody who I knew was up here. I knew this was the environment. This was the space for me. This is where I feel like I could just thrive as an individual.
It's
period.
okay. We all come to Atlanta. I came to Atlanta too. He's like, this is the it place. It's happening.
This is where I knew. This is where I knew I could thrive as an individual. So I was like, let me find a spot here. I mean, I could have worked in Jacksonville. It would have been easier. It would have been cheaper. It would have been, But I was like, I want to get out on my own. I want to branch out. I've always been that type of person. I don't want to be in my parents' house. I don't want to, because even if I started working in Jacksonville, it would have been the same thing. Like I would have still been living at home, and I was over it. I wanted something new. So I found a district. I found a school. I applied. I did my interview, and he asked me in my interview. He was like, "Have you taken a state test?" And I'm like,
I gotta take a test.
State test. I don't know nothing about that. And so he was like, "Yeah, you have to take a state test, but we'll put you on a waiver for now. You got the job.
Yeah.
Whatever." So he put me on a waiver. I took the state test literally in like 3 days. I passed the test on my first time taking it. And like I said, I had the job. So I was up here in like a week.
So everything was just bam, bam, bam,
boom,
moving.
Boom, boom, boom. Like it was it was interview, test, you got the job, moving.
But
like,
you know what? It was meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
When things like that happen, it is meant to be. You're like, dang, this is a little too
little
easy.
fast.
Why is this happening so fast?
I had started working, and literally my first day, I didn't have a new teacher orientation. I didn't have I didn't have like any preparation to get in the classroom. And
they just threw you in the class.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't come from an education background. I didn't do the traditional route.
Yeah.
So this is literally my first time just walking into a classroom, and they gave me a classroom full of 30 kids. And it's 30 13-year-olds.
Oh my gosh.
So you could imagine what that was like. But I mean, the type of person that I am and how I carry myself, it's just when I walk into any room, I'm in control of my own aura, my own space, and I'm in control of the environment. So I feel like you have to, and that just goes and coincides with like your classroom management too. Like you just have to have that aura, that you have to have that vibe, you have to have that presence that resonates with them.
Yeah, demanded. So you weren't like necessarily taught, but you just knew, okay, these kids come in here, they gonna sit down, be quiet, or do what I say.
Thank
it's not about to be no disrespect. They didn't have to teach you that part because
that part, yeah. But and I also feel like. But it was kind of like a disservice, though, because it's like, I don't know nothing about this.
You didn't know what to expect, like.
I didn't know nothing about nothing. And I think that's another thing that people have, like, misconstrued. I think people think because they see me on the internet teaching, they think, oh, he should know everything about teaching. But it's like,
I'm learning as I'm
learning as I go. I was never taught. I never was given a class, a course, or nothing. They give you, like, a little professional development along the way. But those are nothing compared to what's going on in real life, in real time, and what we're actually dealing with on the day to day. So that's really like that's how I got started in education.
And you know what? Thank you for continuing to stay, because after that first year, I'm pretty sure you could have been like, oh, I'm done. This is not it for me.
Done. It was a lot of teachers that came in with me that were done.
Yeah.
Like after that first year, they didn't come back.
And I see it. Like, I understand, like, the difference. Like you said, teachers that's coming in a traditional route and maybe not being prepared. You don't really have those tools yet to kind of know. You're trying to figure out how to do the job efficiently. But then you got this classroom manager. It's just so much other stuff that you have to figure out. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. It can be overwhelming. I did take, a different route as well, but my course at Georgia State University, the first year I did a lot of student teaching. So I was doing student teaching before I went in and got in the classroom. So that really helped, because I can only imagine.
Just coming off the block and just getting right in the classroom.
It's hard. And that is another reason why I'm doing this platform, because I watched some good teachers, people with good hearts, just be verbally abused each and every day they come to school. And I'm just like, he's still coming. And every day I just say, thank you. What do you need? You want a Snicker? Like, what can I
do for you?
Yes, what can I do for you? Because I know this is hard. Probably not at all what you expected when you got in the classroom, but you keep showing up.
And I mean, that's what we're here for. And I think it eventually stops being about the job and it starts being about the kids.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Like, we keep showing up for them because they need somebody who to show up for them, you know? So
And when did
I
you
think-
realize that? At what part, you know, in your span did you realize that, oh, Q, this QB, this may be not about you no more? Like, when did you realize that I'm doing, you know, a different type of work here?
I think I realized that when my first year teaching, I never took any time off. Like, I never took any. I think the only time I took time off was when, like, for my granddad's funeral. And I think that moment when I left, and my students were like, "Where you going? When you come back?" And like when I got back, they were like, "We miss you." Like, I didn't realize how some of them actually need me to be
Yeah.
there to even want to come to school. So I think that was my first year. So I think that was kind of like what showed me like it's bigger than you. Like
Yeah.
some of these kids actually look forward to you just to come to school. Like they'll tell you, they're like, "I'm only coming to school today because you're here." Like if you're not coming to school, I'm not coming to school. Cause like sometimes I'll tell them I'm not coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not coming tomorrow either. Like, they'll be like,
They're like, well, I'm not coming either. You ain't gonna be
If
here,
you're
I
not
ain't gonna
coming
be
to school,
here.
I'm not coming to school. And I'd be like, that's when it clicked to me. Like some of these kids actually physically need you. Like they need you. They need you to be there for them. So
Yes. Do you feel like, you know, most of your job is really just me trying to talk some sense into these kids, motivate them, and then the other, I say 80% is me just trying to motivate. And the
Literally
other
trying to get
20%, we
them-
learn something, but I
It's-
can't teach you if I can't get to your brain.
yes, it's different these days. I think for us, it was kind of like opposite. Like not necessarily that we didn't need the motivation, but it was just like, it was almost like we had it or like we had no other choice.
Yeah.
Like these kids, they feel like they have other choices. I mean, not saying that they don't, but I think what they see on social media is bigger than what reality actually is.
Yeah,
So
and they think it's maybe easier and faster, but they don't realize that those people on social media, they have something,
Yeah, and all your-
a background too, but they don't know what that may
right,
be.
and all you're seeing is the instant gratification.
Right.
You're just seeing the post. You're just seeing the reel. You're just seeing whatever is out there. You're not seeing the work that they actually have to go through. to get to it.
Exactly. So
So,
let's talk more about, you know, your content creation. Like, how did you get started with that?
So it's so crazy. I've been content creating. I was a content creator before I was a teacher. So like I said, I'm only 25 years old. So I've literally when I was in high school, Snapchat was a big thing, and I
Yeah.
was like really big on Snapchat. I used to get
I
thousands.
never got on Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat was a big thing. It was a big, and it was a time. Like you just had to be in that time. But yeah, I used to get like thousands of views on Snapchat. When I was in college, I went viral for like a nightcap video. That it was it's like something that the Kappas hold for. It's a party that they hold at FAMU, and I went viral for that in in college. There was like a few other videos that I went viral for in college. Post college, I have been going viral like several times, like prior to me being a teacher. So I was really a content creator first. So I kind of, like I said, I combined my passion with wanting to teach and being a content creator, and that's how I got to.
It was just kind of natural
Yeah, it
once you
was
got in the
natural.
classroom.
And then with the teaching, it's like I was teaching 7th grade, so it's not. This isn't calculus. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I'm not saying that teacher planning isn't a must, because it is, but I'm not having to do like in-depth training or
In-depth
like
research.
recall or like trying to figure it out, because we just doing fractions, we doing multiply, add. divide.
Look, you saying we just doing fractions to them, to them kids. They like, what? What's the
Yeah.
multiplication of the fractions?
And that be tearing them up. That be tearing them up. So
Yeah.
it was easy for me to combine the two. I've already been doing content creating. I had a passion for teaching. When I got in, it came like that. So that was really nothing. So it was just like, you know, and it's really about time management, balance, planning.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to the content creation, you have an algorithm to follow. So it's like, you know what times to post, when to do this, when to do that. So it's
And
like,
did like your IT background kind of help you with that, or you? Or not really.
I mean, it's because I did do like mobile app development, so that kind of helps me in regards to
Okay.
like just, you know, knowing new apps and knowing how to work new things and just, you know, figuring out how to get on platforms and how to function. Like just it helps me on that aspect of it, but not necessarily like, because you can't really control the algorithm, you know, so it doesn't really help me on that aspect. But as far as like functionality and like what to do, where to go, and how to
Okay.
access certain information, definitely.
Right.
But yeah, so I have been with the content creation, I have been doing that for so long, and then with teaching coming on top of it, it's just about like time management, balance, knowing when you have to post, knowing when you have to do this, and then with teaching, you kind of like do that planning in school. So
Yeah.
that's also on a
Well,
weekly basis.
For
so,
some of us, when we can
yeah.
get the plan in school.
We have when I tell you we have nothing but plan. Like they give us what at my last school.
Yeah.
every single day there was a meeting, so we didn't have
Yeah.
any breaks. There was no breaks, no time to breathe, no time to go to the bathroom, no time to do nothing. So like there was nothing meeting every single planning period that you had. So I mean, we had nothing but time to plan.
Yeah.
So that came into school, and then like I said, it's just time management. We're outside of school, so that's how I bridged the two.
So, you know, it looks like, you know, like your content is just kind of natural. Like, do you just like kind of turn the cameras on, like if the kids are doing something, you're like, wait, hold on, let me turn this on real quick, or is it kind of like, you know, like how does it come up?
It's so it just happens. Like sometimes and what people don't understand is sometimes the kids will start the camera. Like
Really?
we have to be outside the classroom at our doors.
Okay.
And so my phones will just be on my desk sometimes. And they'll go, and then when they come in the classroom, they'll sit at my desk, and they'll start the camera, and they'll be in the camera, they'll be doing whatever.
They be ready.
Oh, I got Mr. Bryant's phone, da 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 da. And then I walk in the classroom, everybody behind my desk finna get rolled up. But they'll leave the camera on, and they'll leave it there. And then so I'm just going to sit down. And sometimes I don't actually notice it, because I didn't even know that they caught it on at first, but sometimes I do. But most of the time I don't notice it, and I'll just sit down, and I just get to talking. And then I open my phone, and I'll be like, you really sat up there and you recorded all
You recorded all this stuff.
But most of the time, when I very, very, very first started teaching, when I first started doing the teacher content, I would just like leave my phone up, just leave it up and just start recording. Just because one, I wanted to reflect on certain things that I was doing as far as like teaching goes. Because like I said, I was new to it. I didn't know anything about it. And then once I started posting, I initially started posting on my Instagram, like just stories. And then people were like, you should post this on TikTok, post this on TikTok. And I'm like, not really into the TikTok thing yet. Like I really wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't yet, but then it took over.
I'm like, I'm not really into the TikTok thing. Like I had not downloaded TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok. It wasn't a thing for me.
I just started. I'm the late comer.
I was like, I'm not, everybody on TikTok, I'm not really following y'all. Like, y'all TikTok won't be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think it was going to be a thing. So as time progressed, you know, TikTok actually became bigger. And I just kept doing the same thing I was doing, because I don't ever want it to be staged. Like, I don't never want it to be like, okay, y'all, let's do this. And set my phone up and like, no, it never gives that. It's always like spur of the moment. Right. If I think I'm finna teach something and I know it's gonna be like a good lesson, I'm gonna record. Or if I know like this is my rowdy class, I'm gonna set the phone up and I'm gonna let y'all do y'all. Like y'all, they create the content for me, and it's like I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to prompt them. I don't have to say, oh, I'm about to set my phone. And they'll ask me like, Mr. Bryant, you recording? And sometimes I literally be like, no, my phone's over there. Like y'all literally just doing y'all. Like. And it just happens like that. But other times I'd be like, yeah, I got that. And I'm finna send it to your mama too. So she can see how you really act. You know, so
it's and that's the funny part. Where it's like, it's your commentary because it's all just so natural.
And that's just me as a person. Like, that's just how I am. I'm very like, go with the flow. Like, I'm gonna let you do you, but I'm gonna say what I gotta say too. You know?
Right,
so
right.
That's just how it is.
But I bet your students respect you for that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I give them that space in that environment for them to be themselves. And I think that because I'm always myself, and I'm not gonna not let you be yourself and I'll be myself.
Yeah.
What kind of exchange is that? So I always give them that environment to be themselves. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you have like the popular class that everybody's like, oh man, I want him as a teacher.
Yes,
I want him as a teacher next year.
Literally, I have those students who I have never taught, I've never seen before, and they, can I come in your class? You don't know me.
You don't like get out. You can't come in here.
You don't know me. Like, be serious. Oh, I know you. What's my name? Mr. Right. You only know because you see me in the hallway. Like, you don't know me for real. Like,
right.
But yeah, I am that teacher on the hallway. Everybody always wants to skip to my class. Always wants to, can I eat with you? No, please. Just like, I need a break.
Right.
But yeah, that's me.
Now, I mean, it also like, you know, you are building relationships with these students because you're meeting them like where they are right now. Like, this is popular for them. Like, TikTok is popular. And so for them, they're like, okay, we got somebody who understands our culture, understands what we like. Like, how does that play out, like, in your classroom management? Do you feel like, or even in your, like, lessons, like, do you feel like they listen to you anymore or try a little bit harder when it comes to, like, maybe homework or assignments, or they still kind of like, eh?
I don't know. I don't think TikTok actually has anything to do with why they listen to me. I think it just adds to it. I think that they listen to me because they respect me. They respect like how I am. They respect what I do, and I'm relatable. I'm also not that teacher that's making you come in here and sit down and be quiet for 45 minutes because I know what it's like to be a kid and be asked to be quiet, and you can't really like. I got ADHD. I can't sit still. I can't shut up. Like,
right.
So why would I make y'all do that? So
right.
I think they listen to me because they relate to me and they know like where I'm coming from and I can relate to them. I think TikTok and me being viral on TikTok just adds to it.
It's like the hook.
Yeah, my teacher famous, my teacher viral. Like I think that
Mm-hmm.
just adds to it. I don't think it makes or break.
But you definitely mentioned something that's important where it's like, you know, I'm not just telling you to come in here, sit down and be quiet so that my class can be quiet. But like you look at them as individuals for who they are. Like, okay, I understand he's probably going to get up 50, 11 times, but I just need to know that's just what he's going to do. Like he's not intentionally trying to cause trouble.
But at the same time, you also have to know I'm setting you up for real life too.
Yeah.
When somebody gives you a directive or a direction, you need to follow it because everybody's not going to be like me. Everybody's not going to give you that grace. Everybody's not going to be like, oh, I understand where you're coming from. If you on a job and they give you a directive and you don't follow it, you're fired. So you have to understand that too. It's a double-sided coin. And I think now I will say now sometimes it is a hindrance because they always think I'm playing with them too. Because they could be like, oh, you like, but I'm not joking with you. Sit down. I'm not.
I know.
Be quiet. Like, you know. So it's a double-sided coin.
So what are some of the challenges you have, you know, faced with having, you know, this popular social media, this popular TikTok, you know, your content is viral and it's out there and it's, you know, it's in the classroom with students. Like, what are some of the challenges that you've had to face?
I think the scrutiny is like probably the biggest challenge that I've had to face. I think because, like I said, most people don't know me as a person. And most people think that they know you off of a minute and 30-second video that they just seen pop up on their For You page. So it's just like, that is probably the biggest challenge for me, trying to get past that. And then teachers are also set to like an unrealistic expectation. Like they put us in a box. We can't. I think people think that we just shut down at 5 o'clock and then we boot it back up at 5 to teach their kids. And that's not it. Like I said, when I started teaching, I was 23. I just graduated college. I'm outside. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, but I also want to be a teacher. I also want to be an educator. But y'all put us in this box to where it's like I can't really express myself or do like how. People my age are usually outside with bottles, doing what they out, turning up. But you can't do that as a teacher because you can't promote that type of stuff. But not necessarily saying that I'm that person. But I like to have fun too. Yeah. Like I like to go outside too. I like to turn up too. I like to go to the club. Like I'm at that point. I was 23. I'm 25. I still like to go outside.
Yes.
So it's just like I think we're held to this unrealistic expectation, and we're scrutinized to the point where it's like, you can't do this. You can't have this life. You can't, and I don't think that's fair.
And no.
So, and that's one thing I try to do with my content as well. Like, I mean, I don't know if I can cuss. But forget what y'all say.
Listen.
I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna continue to be me. I mean, if you don't like it, you just don't like it. But I'm gonna continue.
Listen, that book right there that says what? The subtle art of not giving a F, okay? By Mark Manson. Like I'm there.
I'm telling you, it's just like, I don't understand, like we're people too. Like we're at the end of the day.
It's just that, it's changed. Like just the traditional mindset and aspect of what schooling was. It's changed. You still have some of those people in those positions as admin, superintendent leadership that are still in that mindset, and they may have not changed it to meet where we are in times today.
And I'm you don't even, like, these kids are not there no more. You can't do with them what you did to me, with me. And I graduated high school in 16. So it hasn't even, it hasn't even been 10 years since
honestly,
I was
be thankful
school.
that I'm here teaching.
Thank you.
And that, like, I'm not harming the kids.
Thank you.
And as we could look at it too, like, I'm not harming them. And I guess they think, okay, well, how are you influencing them? I'm motivating them and encouraging them every day.
I'm showing them every day how to be yourself, and how to live in your own truth, and how to, like, individualism and individuality. I'm showing them that on a daily basis, and I don't think that people actually understand. I think it's hard where it's easy to give your opinion on something if you haven't actually done it, and a lot of people haven't actually been in the classroom to see what it's like. And it's easy for you to give your opinion from the outside if you aren't actually in the field. And that's my favorite thing to tell people: get in the field. Like go to a classroom, go volunteer, go to a school, go see what it's like.
I saw
and I promise
something.
you will quickly change your mind. Yeah.
It was something like where, like, how some people, I think before they had to drafted to go to the Army, they said everybody needs to be drafted at least once in their life to teach in the classroom.
At least once.
Perspectives will change drastically.
And y'all will see how bad it really is inside that classroom. And not necessarily just with the kids though. It comes down to, like, the curriculum and you know, the support that we get or lack thereof. So, you know, it's a lot of different sides to it.
Yeah. So, what are the toughest parts of like teaching and creating content, and what's the best part of it?
I think the toughest part about teaching is hearing the different stories, like the different stuff that the kids go through, and trying to, like, they go through some crazy stuff, and it's almost
I know.
like I said, I don't know everything, and I haven't even been through some of the stuff that they've been through. So how can I, you know? But you do the best that you can to get them through that stuff. So I think that's the toughest part, like the support level that you have to give to them, a certain number of them, because not all of them are like that, but some of them really do come from some really tough backgrounds. So I think that's probably the toughest part of it. The best part is when you're teaching them and they're learning in those aha moments, those, oh, this is actually easy. Like, oh, I get this. Like, I live
You're
for
like, thank
those
goodness
moments.
somebody gets it.
Yeah, and it's just like, because I've been telling all this whole time, it's not that hard. And I think they kind of already have that mindset that, because I teach math.
Yeah.
So everybody already coming in like, I don't like math, I don't want to do it, da, 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 da. So I already have my work cut out for me. So when I get those students and when I get the whole class to be like, oh, this was easy, like, that's nothing, we could do this. I'm like, thank you, like,
yes.
this is what I've been trying to get y'all to do this whole time. And none of it is that hard. Y'all just don't want to do it. You're not motivated. And that's what I have to show them, like, motivate yourself. If this is easy, guess how easy the next one gonna be.
Look at that. And it's like you almost doing like reverse psychology. They're like, guys, this is easy. And they start to look at it, but then in their mind, they're like, well, he's saying it's easy, so it must be easy.
It must
but
be easy.
Those, like, you are intentional with your words and speaking life into them.
So yeah, I think that's and then the easiest or the best part about teaching, well, I said the best part about content creating is when people actually get your message, like when people actually receive your message and aren't trying to nitpick. And I think that's the one thing that I hate about. That's the toughest part about content creating. When people nitpick your message, like you'll listen to a whole 3-minute video, but you'll find one thing that I said, you'll pull that out and you'll make a whole thing just about that. So it's just like that kind of, and I don't never be ready for that either, because I think that because I think that I speak and people be like,
and they understand it, and you're like,
because I'm almost like it's like, how could you not get that? But you also have to understand people have their own mind, they have their own process, they have their own way of thinking, and everybody don't
right,
think
like you said, the
so.
process and communication. Like just because you said it, it's like they may not understand, right, or your intent behind it, and so then you find yourself like, do I even go back and try to fix this, or it's like, do I let it just sit there?
Yeah, and I think that all depends on what the message is. Like recently, I was dealing with something like that. Like it was the one that I just recently went viral when I was like, y'all kids are bad as, yeah. And so in that video, I said, why is your 12 and 13-year-old girl rocking and talk about baddie shot o'clock? Go baddie your ass to a seat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but go baddie to a seat. And it was like, why are you talking about your kids like that? And this is how you reference your kids. I'm like, out of this, I'm literally talking about how your 12 and 13-year-old is baddie shot o'clock, and all you could hear is how I said, go sit down in the seat. Like, is that what you?
That's what you pulled from it.
Like, that's what you got out of it. So, I think that be the hard part, and in that instance, I feel like that needed a response, because now you're trying to tear down my character. Now you're trying, like, you're not speaking on content, because I'm going to keep making content and you're clearly going to keep watching it. So I don't never really worry about the content stuff. But when you start almost attacking my character and who I am as a person, now I feel like certain things like that need to be spoken on. And we need to address that, because we never going to make it seem like I'm speaking down on my kids in that type of manner. You get what I was trying to say. You just don't like me. So let's actually get to the root of the issue here. So you don't like that. That's probably the toughest part about
opening yourself up to the possible scrutiny. How do you manage that? How do you manage like some of the stress of the job, or even like the stress of that comes with maybe some of the comments or people's opinions?
Initially, I just started doing it. I just started reading the comments. Like I never read the comments.
I hear that people say like don't bother in the comment section. Don't do it. I hear that.
I'm telling you, do not read the comments. I just started reading the comments. I don't know why. But I just started reading the comments, and I see why celebrities be crashing out, because
Yeah.
people really do be coming for them, and it's like, there's no way that you
Like, how'd you get that
how
deep?
Did you get that? Like, how did we get here? There's no way we got here. So I see why celebrities be crashing out. But to answer the question, I think now I write a lot. I journal, either whether it's music, because I'm an artist as well. So either whether it's music or whether it's just journaling,
Yeah.
I write a lot just to get it out. Because I think, and a lot of people don't actually know themselves. Like, and I know myself. I know who I am. I know who I want to be, and I know what I want to portray.
You've done the work.
Yeah.
You've done the work to get to being this person who you are today.
So I know who I am, and I know what I want to be. Like I said, I know what I want to portray. So I write a lot. I write it down. I write just affirmations, like how we listen to that thing list. I write a lot. That's how I get through. That's how I process. And I know it may sound weird, but I do yoga and I meditate too.
No, that's hello. Listen, I just said this summer, I need to get back into doing more yoga, meditating. But I mean, between journaling, yoga, meditating, these are all things that's right up my alley. I get it.
And people don't even expect me as a person, because most people, they don't expect me to do that. So it's just I do yoga and I meditate. You may not think, but I'm in that home,
Yeah.
So that's me. So that's how I get through that process. And then obviously taking myself out, just spending time with myself. Like I said, most people have never spent times with themselves, and you really don't like yourself, and that's a part of the problem too. Some people don't like themselves. So I spend time with myself, getting to know myself, what I like, what I don't like, my do's and my don'ts. You know what I'm saying? Just getting to know me better, taking myself out, getting massages, so just self-care stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I love that. I think I'm about to go get a massage after this. Had to look over there at the camera hey.
Yeah.
But no, all these things, I constantly talk about on my podcast about, self-care, personal care. And some people, they don't even know what that looks like. Or, the reasons why they're so unhappy. You have to self-reflect. You have to take a moment and reflect on who you are as a person.
A lot of people be fighting internal battles and they don't even know it, just on a daily basis.
Yes.
You have to do that reflection.
So I commend you. I commend you for doing that work, because it's not easy.
It's not easy work.
And you have to keep doing it.
You have to keep doing it, because, like I said, when that video went viral about the shapes, that was hard for me. That was hard for me. When I tell you, they ripped me apart. But you have those people who are in support, who support you.
Yeah.
But it's that don't hit as hard as the negative comments, and I think that'd be the thing. So that kind of that threw me into a whirlwind mentally, because I'm y'all just don't like me. Y'all just don't like me as a person, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But don't forget what we're actually here for. We have 12 and 13-year-olds who don't know how to identify shapes. And we're not talking about rhombus. We're not talking about parallelogram. We're talking about squares, circles.
Yeah. What didn't you say a quadrilateral? What was it you said?
We were talking about squares, circles, and triangles. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. And then
no, you are.
And my whole thing was, if they would have just looked down, the answer was in the book. So it wasn't even about you knowing or how to just look down. That was my whole thing. They were so lazy they couldn't look down. So when people were taking that message and saying, "Oh, he's belittling, he's berating the kids," first of all, y'all probably don't know the definition of belittling, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm actually identifying an issue, addressing the issue, and I'm solving the problem too, because now for homework, we're doing shapes.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do today. So that whole video kind of threw me into a whirlwind, because I didn't know how. I had never been, when the first video went viral, I had more support than I did anything else. When that one went, the second one, it was more negative. So that kind of threw me into a whirlwind. I didn't really know how to take it. So I had to take a step back. I had to reflect. I had to say, wait, let me go back and watch the video to see what really took place. And after watching it a few times, I was I could see, because I'm a Libra, I see both sides of everything. So I could see how y'all could take that, but were you actually listening to anything that I said? You know what I'm saying? So
the bigger issue is these babies don't know shapes.
They don't know shapes, and they're 13.
And they're 13.
Like I said, we're not talking about
that. And what you're doing is you are putting it out there, a light for it to see. And America, we've been hearing about it a little bit. They hear about it, but now, I'm showing you. Educators themselves are actually speaking and saying,
yeah, in real time. And I think Another thing what people were saying is like, why do you record it? Like, why are you recording? We have these conversations in private. When have conversations in private ever changed anything? Like
Nothing, and that's why we're here, because this stuff needs to be out for everyone to hear.
Yeah, so everybody needs to see that in real time, that education is in a crisis. It's
Yes.
bad. It's not, and we're not getting better. Like, I don't care. Teachers are walking away in trolls. Like,
It's getting harder and harder each year.
Harder. And I just seen something earlier where it was something about like Project 2025. They're actually trying to dismantle the Department of Education.
Ooh,
so it's
child.
like, it's a lot. And y'all worry about them not know. Like, y'all worry about me. Your kids don't know shape, and they finna dismantle the whole education system. And y'all worry about me. We have bigger fish to fry. Like, and I'm worried about the black and brown babies. Those are the babies who are most affected by this.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think that's
Yes.
that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do.
Well, I mean, I definitely see your heart. You know, this may have not been a path you started out, going, but definitely, divine intervention took place and you made a turn. But what you're doing is impactful one way or another. It's getting people to talk. It's getting people to talk, and it's, it's not always having to be, it's not easy having to be that one.
Yeah.
And you the chosen one. You the chosen one, because you can endure. You can endure it.
And whether the conversation is good or bad, the conversation needs to be had. Like,
Yes.
It doesn't matter as long as we're talking about it. Like, and I think that's another thing too. I think people expect for you to always be on the good side of things, or like but as long as the conversation is being had, no matter how you feel about it, that was what I wanted. This is what we needed. This is what we need to talk about. So
yes, and I'm thankful for this conversation. Like, I'm like a little on the rebellious side right now, but in all seriously, like, if you have like a message that you want, people to know about you, like your message, your vision, like, what would it be for our viewers?
okay, so I told you I wrote this one down.
Yes, so that your words can
Yes.
be clear.
Yes. So ultimately, as a teacher, I hope to leave an impact that extends beyond academic achievement. I aim to inspire a lifelong love of learning, encourage critical thinking, and foster resilience and self-confidence in my students. I want to create an inclusive and supportive environment where every student feels valued and empowered to reach their potential. Ultimately, I hope my students will leave my classroom with a deeper understanding of themselves, a respect for others, and the skills to navigate and contribute positively to the world. And ultimately, for my content, I wanted to make a positive difference in people's lives, whether it's learning, entertainment, or personal growth. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
you.
being like honest, open.
Always. That's just gonna be me always. That's my background. That's where I come from.
You like, that's just me.
That's me. No, I'm gonna keep it 100 always.
Well, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
and
you for
having
having
this
me.
candid conversation. Tell our viewers how they can, stay up to date with you, how they can follow you.
So TikTok is QB the Don. Instagram is the same thing, but it's QB the Don, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you again. So thank you for joining Unhappy Teacher Podcast, where we are creating a safe space for educators to just vent and let's talk about all things education. Be sure to like and subscribe, share, and subscribe, so we can build our channel, build our connection, and build our network of people so that we can continue to push this train forward in education. For other resources and tips, visit unhappyteacher.com and check the link in the bio for more resources. I'm Courtney, and QB, we out.
This was so nice.